We noticed the sound before anything else, the recorder clicking on, the kind used in rooms where words matter later. Not for drama. For record. Some stories announce themselves loudly. This one didn't. It arrived already documented. Irene Whitmore was there because she had kept her father's books straight when everything else fell apart. Because she stayed. Because the quiet work doesn't leave witnesses. This is where she begins. The red light on the recorder came on, and Richard Halden's voice settled into the room. Today's mediation is on the record. Please refrain from personal recording. Elena laughed anyway. Relax. It's just for my feed. Phone's down, Halden said. Now. Patricia folded her hands too neatly. Let's not make this harder than it has to be. Halden opened the folder. There is a codicil attached to Samuel Whitmore's will. Elena leaned forward. Read it. Pursuant to the decedent's instructions, Halden continued. The estate, valued at $3.6 million United States dollars, is awarded to Irene Whitmore, contingent upon confirmation of biological relationship. Elena snorted. You've got to be kidding. There is also an escrow account, Halden added, pre-funded by the decedent to cover all verification costs. Patricia's mouth tightened. Samuel wouldn't do this. I kept my hands on the table. The wood was cool. He did. A pause. The kind that waits for someone to break. Elena raised her phone again. Say that louder. The channel stayed quiet here, watching the moment stretch just long enough to reveal who was already certain. Halden closed the folder. Ms. Whitmore, you may respond. I breathed once. I'd like to propose a voluntary settlement. If this stays with you, pass it along. Some records only surface when they're shared. I don't want this dragged out, I said, keeping my voice level. We can end it today. Patricia glanced at Elena, then back at me. Her fingers pressed into the edge of her folder, whitening at the corners. There's a way to split this clean. I continued. 3 equal shares, 1.2 million United States dollars each. No testing, no record of dispute. Elena laughed again, sharper this time. You think you get to negotiate? Richard Halden leaned forward. Ms. Whitmore is allowed to make an offer. Patricia exhaled through her nose. You're asking us to ignore your father's wishes. I'm asking us to avoid turning this into something public. I said, something permanent. Elena rolled her chair back just enough to make a point. Permanent is fine with me. There it was, no hesitation, no math. Just certainty. Patricia hesitated. I saw it in the way her eyes flicked to the asset summary. Then away. A small pause. One breath too long. That's a lot of money to walk away from. She said quietly. It's not walking away. I said, it's choosing an ending. Elena leaned forward again. She's scared, she said to Patricia. She knows she loses if we test. I didn't correct her. I watched Patricia's jaw set. The pause sealing shut. No settlement, Patricia said. We follow the codicil. Halden nodded once. Very well. The room settled into a different silence. The kind that means a door has closed, even if no one says it out loud. Richard Halden slid the folder closer to the center of the table. Once the codicil is invoked, he said, the process becomes mandatory. Any party asserting a false claim forfeits inheritance rights? Elena smirked. Perfect. Patricia's chair creaked as she shifted. You don't have to make this hostile, she said, eyes on me. We're still family. I nodded once. Not agreement. Acknowledgement. This isn't a family argument, I said. This is a reconciliation. Elena scoffed. Of course you'd dress it up. The numbers already exist. I went on. I'm just displaying them. Halden looked at me, then at Patricia. Ms. Whitmore, do you wish to proceed under the codicil? Patricia hesitated. Her hand hovered over the folder like it might burn. Yes, she said finally. We proceed. Elena leaned back, satisfied. Good. Let's stop pretending. The recorder hummed. Papers shifted. Someone coughed down the hall. Small sounds filling a room that had run out of patience. Halden adjusted his glasses. Very well. Verification will follow the terms set by the decedent. I folded my hands. They were steady. That's fine. Patricia studied my face, searching for something fear, doubt, a crack. She didn't find it. The silence stretched again, heavier this time, and no one rushed to break it. Richard Halden tapped the edge of the folder. Before we proceed, I need to confirm that all parties understand the verification will rely on certified documentation already submitted. Elena tilted her head. Already submitted by whom? By me, I said. Weeks ago. Patricia's eyes narrowed. You did this behind our backs. I did it ahead of time. I replied. There's a difference. Elena laughed under her breath. You're bluffing. I reached into my bag and set a sealed envelope on the table. Thick paper. Red security tape. It landed softly, but didn't move. These reports weren't rushed. I said, they weren't ordered this morning. Everything was prepared while Dad was still alive. Halden glanced at the seal, then back at me. You were acting under medical proxy. Yes. Patricia folded her arms. You had no right to touch Elena's information. Elena shared it herself. I said, the genetic wellness panel. She talked about it online for months. Screenshots, downloads, consent embedded in the platform terms. Elena shifted in her seat. That was for brand partnerships, not for this. I didn't change the data, I said. I preserved it. The room went quiet again, not tense. Focused. Halden opened his notebook. And Samuel Whitmore's sample collected during hospice intake, I said. Chain of custody documented, stored properly, verified. Patricia's voice dropped. You planned this. I prepared, I said. That's my job. Elena leaned forward, elbows on the table. So, when do we find out I didn't answer right away? I looked at the envelope instead, then back at Halden. When you're ready, I said. Richard Halden broke the seal carefully, like the paper mattered. He slid the first page out, then the second. His eyes moved, stopped, moved again. Elena crossed her arms. This is taking too long. Halden didn't look up. Please. Patricia leaned forward. Just tell us. He set the papers flat on the table. The results are conclusive. I felt the chair under me. Solid. My breath stayed even. Irene Whitmore, Halden continued, is confirmed as the biological child of Samuel Whitmore. Elena laughed once, sharp and short. Obviously. Patricia let out a breath she'd been holding. Her shoulders dropped, just a little. Halden didn't move on. He turned another page. The comparative analysis, he said, slower now, shows no biological relationship between Elena Whitmore and Samuel Whitmore. The room didn't explode. It didn't even react right away. Elena blinked. That's not funny. Patricia stared at the papers. Her mouth opened, then closed again. That can't be right. Halden met her eyes. The methodology is sound. Independent verification. Certified laboratories. Elena pushed her chair back. You messed with this, she said, pointing at me. You had access. I didn't touch the results. I said, I just waited for them. Patricia's hands started to shake. She pressed them together, hard. You're saying I'm saying what the report says, Halden replied. Elena stood up, then sat back down like her legs forgot what to do. So what? You're just cutting me out. No one answered. I watched Patricia's face as something shifted behind her eyes. Not anger, not grief. Something quieter. A story coming apart. Halden closed the folder. The determination under the codicil is clear. The recorder hummed on, steady and indifferent. As the silence settled into place, Patricia straightened in her chair, like posture alone could fix it. "This doesn't change everything," she said. "The insurance policy stands on its own." Halden looked at her, waited. "The life insurance," she added. 1.25 million United States dollars. I'm the beneficiary. I nodded once. That policy was issued in 1997. Patricia's eyes flicked to me. And it includes a family rider," I said. "Premiums adjusted based on dependent disclosures." Elena's voice cracked. "Why are you talking about this because of the application?" I said. "The one you signed." Patricia shook her head. "I filled out what they asked for." "You certified that Elena was Samuel's biological child," I said. "That wasn't a mistake. It affected coverage." Halden shifted. "Careful now. Ms. Whitmore, misrepresentation at issuance can void a policy." Patricia's hands clenched. "This is ridiculous. It's material," I said. "Not cosmetic. It changes risk." Elena stood up again. "Stop using those words." I kept my eyes on Patricia. "The insurer's Special Investigations Unit has the documentation. They were notified last week." Halden's pen paused mid-air. "You've already contacted them." "Yes." Patricia's face drained. "You went behind my back. I followed procedure," I said. "Same as always." The room felt smaller. Patricia pressed her palms to the table. "They won't do anything," she said, but it sounded like she was trying to convince herself. "The policy is frozen pending review," I said. "No payout while they investigate." Elena laughed, thin and brittle. "You're bluffing again." Halden cleared his throat. "I can confirm the notice was received." Patricia closed her eyes for a second. When she opened them, something had shifted. Not defeat, calculation, the old kind. Elena's phone was already in her hand before anyone stood up. "This is insane," she said, backing away from the table. "Everyone needs to see this." Halden lifted a hand. "Ms. Whitmore, recording is not permitted." She ignored him. The screen lit her face from below. Too bright. "My sister just stole my inheritance," she said into the camera. "She manipulated the process. She's been lying for years." I stayed where I was, both hands visible, nothing to add. Patricia stood abruptly. "Elena, stop." Elena swung the phone toward her. Tell them what she's doing." Patricia's mouth opened, closed. "I signed what they needed back then," she said. Everyone did. The words landed and didn't bounce. Elena froze. The phone kept rolling. Halden's chair scraped as he stood. That statement is on the record. Comments began to stack on Elena's screen. I could see them flicker, too fast to read. Her breathing changed, shorter, shallower. "You're twisting this," she said, voice higher now. "You're all twisting it." Security appeared at the door, quiet and efficient. "Ma'am," one of them said, "please lower the device." Elena laughed, sharp again. "They're scared. Look at them." She stepped back and bumped into the chair she'd pushed earlier. Papers slid off the table. The phone caught it all. The folder, the seal, the labels. "Enough," Halden said. The guard took the phone gently, like it might break. Elena's hands stayed in the air a second too long before dropping. "I didn't do anything," she said. No one answered. Patricia sank back into her chair. Her eyes stayed on the table, on the evidence she hadn't meant to show. I didn't move until the door closed behind Elena. Then I reached for my bag and stood. The room felt smaller after Elena was gone. Not quieter, just tighter. Patricia stared at the empty chair across from her. "She's panicking," she said. "She doesn't mean any of it." Halden slid a single document from his folder and turned it so she could read the header. "This is a release of interest waiver." Patricia looked up. "You're asking me to sign this now. I'm outlining your options," Halden said. "This resolves your claim to the insurance proceeds." Her fingers hovered above the paper, unsure where to land. "And if I don't?" The investigation continues, I said, at its own pace. Patricia let out a laugh that didn't reach anywhere. You always did like control. I like closure, I said. She picked up the pen, put it down again. Her hand shook once before she steadied it against the table. This doesn't mean she's nothing, Patricia said, not looking at me. It means the records are complete. I said. Halden watched quietly as Patricia signed. The pen scratched, slow and uneven, across the page. When she slid the document back, she didn't meet my eyes. The estate transfers to you, Halden said. Effective immediately. Patricia nodded, small and contained. Then we're done. I gathered my bag and stood. The chair legs scraped softly against the floor. Nothing dramatic, just the sound of something ending where it began. The house was quiet when I got back. Not the tense quiet it used to hold, but the kind that settles after people leave and don't plan to return. I set my bag on the kitchen counter and didn't turn on any lights. I knew the layout well enough. My laptop waited where I'd left it, closed, patient. I opened it and pulled up the spreadsheet I'd kept for years. Care schedules, medication costs, missed work, discretionary withdrawals I hadn't approved but had recorded anyway. Every line dated, every note clean. I scrolled slowly. No rush now. I entered the last adjustment. Caregiving labor offset against misappropriated funds. The columns recalculated on their own. The final cell blinked once, then settled. The balance resolved to 0. I sat there longer than I needed to. Not because I felt triumphant, just finished. There was nothing left to prove. Nothing left to carry forward. My phone buzzed once. A message from Halden confirming the filing. I replied with a simple acknowledgement and closed the laptop without saving a new copy. The archived version was enough. Later, I walked through the house room by room. No speeches, no inventory. I opened a window in the living room and let the evening air move through. That was all. For a long time. I thought keeping records meant staying stuck, that if I let go of them, I'd finally be free. It turned out the opposite was true. The records gave me back my own time, my own name. Irene Whitmore didn't win anything that day. She closed an account that had been open too long, and for the first time in years, she stopped auditing her own life. If this story lingers, it's okay to pass it along. Some endings only make sense when they're shared. We stayed with her a moment after the screen went still. No victory music. Just the sound of a file being closed and a life moving forward without needing to look back.